Hi, everyone, and welcome to our fourth and final session of this four-part Mindfulness and Menopause series, where today we will focus on embracing your wisdom and know what you need to heal and thrive forward. During this four-part series, we've learned a great deal about what mindfulness really is, and we also learned some new skills that will help navigate the menopause journey with more ease. And in today's session, this will top off the series with helping us thrive forward in our journey. My name is Kim Fancher, and I will be your host again today. So, we here at Positive Health are so honored, especially during this World Menopause Month timeframe, to be able to bring experts in to share some really great information on menopause topics like this one that can help ease your menopause journey. And now I would love to introduce our guest speaker one more time, Cheryl Jones, who has done a fabulous job sharing her mindfulness expertise and passion with us throughout this entire series of webinars. Cheryl brings a lot of experience in the mindfulness space and has been recognized as one of the 12 most powerful women of the mindfulness movement by Mindful Magazine. So, hello, Cheryl. How are you doing today?
Hi, Kim. I am so well and thrilled to be here. How are you today?
I am doing well as well.
Yeah, so excited to be able to bring it home. We're going to stick the landing here, everybody. So, this is session 4, as you mentioned, Kim. And what I'm really excited to focus on today is how everything we've talked about so far really leads us to how do we bring this forward? How do we make mindfulness real for us as we journey through menopause and beyond? Because the reality is that while menopause may be a source of change and stress, it's also an opportunity for growth. And so I believe that the skills and the practices and the lessons and what we learn as we go through menopause can be the opening to how we really live and go through the rest of our lives. So that's why the name of this session is entitled Embracing Your Wisdom, because we can just go through something and come out the other side with no wisdom and no skill. That is possible. But obviously, you're here because you want it to be something that serves you as you journey forward. And that's really what positive health is all about. And so the intention here is to help you to understand how do you know what you need to heal and thrive forward. And for me, that has always been, at least for the last 28 years, it has been through the practice of mindfulness. That is what informs how I know what I need in the moment, what I need to take care of myself, who I need to partner with, what are the resources that I need so that I can thrive forward. And I hope that that is true for you as well. So we are going to have a look at what I'd like to introduce today. And the first is really to take a few minutes to clarify personal values and then get into some things that get in the way of us living according to our personal values. I want to talk more about mindfulness and how it helps us to create healthy habits. We'll do a short loving kindness meditation and once again leave you with some resources that will help you to heal and thrive forward. So it doesn't matter if we're in ninth grade health class, which is when I first used to introduce teaching personal values in this exercise called values clarification, or if it's for those of us who are, decades later. And so personal values seem like, maybe something that, well, of course they're front of mind, but I think that in today's fast-paced, we don't mean to be addicted to doing, but we kind of are, swiping here and scrolling there, and the technology and everything coming at us from all directions. Oh, I'm just stressed thinking about it. But all of these things can keep us, shall we say, from living according to our personal values. So these are just some of the categories that we think about when we consider our personal values. There are many more, and if you go online, you'll find all different kinds of lists of personal values and words that reflect such. But I wanted to bring forward some that are important to me and also I think are universal. So when we're exploring our personal values, we're thinking about our relationships, because we know, and the research tells us, that feeling connected to each other is really important. It's just as important as oxygen and food is our connection to other human beings. And so when we think about who is going to support us in our menopause journey and in our life journey, our relationships really become central to our health and well-being. So one thing that I like to ask myself when I'm thinking about my relationships is, how do I want people to leave when they, how do I want people to feel when they leave my presence? And having that front of mind and practicing, that isn't always the thing that's front of mind, but my mindfulness practice helps me to remember when I am going into a situation, whether it's somebody that I know really well or somebody I've known my whole life, maybe a family member that I feel really connected to, or maybe one that I struggle with, or same thing with friends, to really keep front of mind, what kind of energy do I want to bring to this interaction? And then how do I want that person or those people to feel? Another personal value that is really helpful for enhancing our sense of well-being and improving our health is, really feeling connected to nature and appreciating the beauty of nature and the beauty in general. We can find this in a museum when we're just really engrossed, and in a painting that we just feel like is a friend. So where and when, in what situations do we give ourselves permission to pause and to really take in the beauty within our surroundings? And so again, for me, having a mindfulness practice, being awake and aware in the moment, helps me to remember to stop and really take in the beauty, because the beauty and the positivity that comes from that can be very nourishing, and it can fill our well so that it helps us to get through the not so pretty moments of the menopause journey and in life. When we're exploring our personal values, we can think about, what are the things that make us feel valued, and, our achievements and accomplishments, and, things that we've done in our lives, our different kinds of experiences, having that growth mindset or maybe a sense of adventure. We can ask ourselves, so how important is this personal growth and or professional growth? And how am I growing myself? And what goals do I have for myself? What things do I still want to accomplish? What new things might I want to learn? Another aspect of our personal values is health, of course. That's why we're all here connected through positive health, because we are choosing to prioritize our health. And so for me, this is about also prioritizing self-care. And it doesn't need to be something big, it can be, but to me, self-care is what we do in the moments. And so being aware, having this self-awareness and awareness of what's happening within us and around us helps us to determine in this moment what is the most self-caring choice that I can make. And finally, at least for this slide, when we think about personal values, they say you can tell a lot about a person when we look at what we do in our free time, right? So our personal time, what do we do when we're not taking care of other people or working? What are those things that we do to have happiness and creativity and joy? What are those hobbies? What are we doing to volunteer and give back to the community or to the neighborhood? To our families, like what are we doing when we're not working or taking care of everybody else? So those are some aspects of personal values that I invite you to consider. And maybe when you have a quiet moment, create a quiet moment, light a candle, have a cup of tea, go to your favorite chair, and maybe jot down what are your personal values. And it doesn't need to be a long list, but 3 or 4 or 6, whatever, and start to breathe with them and start to notice, are these still relevant? A lot of times our values change based on what chapter we're in life. And so having clarity on what your values are and how you can live in greater alignment with them can really evoke wisdom and clarity, and also opportunities to celebrate those things, that those ways that we are living in alignment with our personal values. So I'd like to shift now to talk a little bit about habits, because we've got our values and we know how we want to be living. And then there are habits, ways of behavior that we sometimes have consciously created. We've done something intentionally, purposefully created a new healthy habit. Here I'm talking about those habits that kind of, I don't know, they slide away from us, and all of a sudden we're doing something that we know is maybe not so helpful for us, yet because the brain is wired to keep doing that and our thinking comes before behaving, we're stuck in this pattern of maybe not the most helpful habit. So the way that habits are formed, just a quick overview or introduction, is that there is this trigger, right? I'm just going to make something up. So I get off the phone with my mother-in-law. I actually don't have one, but I'm just saying. Get off the phone with my mother-in-law, and I go to the freezer and I grab the gallon of ice cream, and I don't even put it in a bowl. I just get a spoon and I start eating, and whew, that feels really comforting. It feels so good. That's the reward. And so that becomes a learned behavior. Get off the phone with my mother-in-law, go get some ice cream, feel good, right? Just as an example. So that pattern of behavior gets very ingrained within the brain. So we didn't mean for that to be the habit, but that's just what happens. With mindfulness, we can notice, when I get off the phone with my mother-in-law, I don't feel so good about myself, feeling just really like I don't have the confidence that I normally have. And I'm kind of feeling sad and disappointed and wanting for things to be different. So then I go to the ice cream, or maybe I don't. Maybe I still go to the ice cream and I eat with that awareness, but I don't feel so good right now because now I understand what's driving it. So now the next time I get off the phone with my mother-in-law, I realize that I'm not feeling so good right now. Let me just take a little walk. Let me just lie down on the floor and do a couple of, yoga stretches. Let me just pause and put my 2 feet on the ground and set a timer and just follow my breathing and be with that for a few minutes. So we've just broken a pattern, right? So now we realize there's the trigger. I have a choice. I can do something different, and I don't need that reward because I'm getting it from some other healthier habit that's giving me what I actually need, which is a hug. So this is just one example to highlight how habits get formed. And we know that this is possible, that we can create new patterns of thinking because we know about neuroplasticity, that it is possible for the brain to actually change its actual structure. And we can lay down what we call new neural pathways in the brain, new thought patterns which result in new ways of behaving. Great news. I know I've said this before, but we cannot hear this enough. It's very hopeful to me. And what I love about the practice of mindfulness is, as it relates to our habits, that we all have habits that take away from us living our best life, that take away from our self-care, that take away from us living according to our values. All of these things are fine to do once in a while. So the invitation here is not to get into this self-judging, self-loathing, self-criticizing thinking, but noticing. The invitation is to start to notice these kinds of behaviors where every time I feel uncomfortable, every time I'm bored, every time I'm lonely, every time I'm stressed, I grab my phone, which is pretty much everybody because we're kind of all addicted to our phones. So how we heal that is by noticing how often I mindlessly grab my phone and start scrolling or gaming, or pull out my credit card that's already practically to its max and start doing some online shopping, or drift into daydreaming about all the ways we wish, things we wish were happening instead of the things that actually are happening. Daydreaming, eating. Sometimes we get into working too much, eating too much, even exercising too much, binge watching. So again, not from a self-judging place, but from an awareness, a place of loving kindness, a place of awareness to just start to notice what Dr. Judd Brewer calls these everyday addictions. And we do this with self-kindness and self-compassion because we're trying to discover, where are we losing steam? Where are we losing focus? Where are we losing energy? Where are we losing our ability to live in alignment with that which we truly care about. And of course, you know, I have to talk about the role of mindfulness in behavior change, and I already said this. So if we want to thrive through menopause, if we want to gain wisdom through menopause, we want to start to notice, what am I doing now? So what are my habits? What are my everyday addictions? What are those behaviors that are maybe getting in the way of me thriving? And again, this is not meant to be like another pressure, because I know sometimes we are too tired to be healthy, and we are stressed about our stress, and we want to be practicing a higher level of self-care and stress when we're not. So this is not meant to be any more of that. It's a loving noticing of, what am I doing? Because this is the beginning point, to notice, what am I doing, without shaming myself or criticizing myself, but just getting tuned in to, what am I actually doing? And then seeing if we can accept those behaviors and get curious about them. Before trying to change anything, we're trying to practice acceptance. Let me notice what I'm doing. Let me be curious about what I'm doing. I'm still not even trying to change anything. I'm just trying to get tuned in to what is actually happening. And then we start to make those little changes. And I think the attitude that we want to be navigating through this journey with is an attitude of what we call beginner's mind, that no matter how many times we tried something in the past, this is a new moment. And we can call upon our strengths, those times, those character strengths that we have, that we've called upon at other times in our lives to get through something or to be successful. And also to remember, you know, those times when we navigated a difficult terrain or situation, to be able to move through. The only way is through. The only way through your menopause journey is through the journey. So we're taking baby steps, and we're noticing our behaviors. We're laying down new neural pathways so that we can start to take on some small behaviors that have a cumulative benefit, that contribute to our health and well-being. So I want to talk just a little bit about thriving. What does it mean to thrive? You know, each of us may have a different notion, a different vision for what this looks like. So again, these are some reflective questions that you can explore, carving out just a little bit of me time to be with yourself and to ask yourself these questions. So what does thriving mean to me? What does that look like? And how do I know when I'm thriving? What am I doing? What am I not doing? Who am I with? How am I feeling? And what is a baby step? What is just one thing? We don't even have to call it a tiny step or a baby step, just the next step. What is the next step that feels appropriate for you to help you to thrive forward? And I really believe that, and again, my own life journey, my experience through my menopause journey and continuing, is really befriending ourselves. That's what mindfulness practice to me is. It's about learning how to be with yourself. It's about welcoming whatever your present moment experience is, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. It's a willingness to notice, a willingness to practice self-care in the moment, And this is how we befriend ourselves. And this is how I believe we start. Our wisdom comes from learning from what we see. So the willingness to be with ourselves, to befriend ourselves, and the openness to learn from our experience so that we can take that forward to practice a higher level of self-care. So at this point, I would actually like to invite you to do a mindfulness practice with me. And this is called a loving kindness practice. So bringing the body into a position that's upright and uptight. If you're driving, just holding on to that steering wheel and being awake and aware of yourself driving and just taking this in. If you're doing this from a lying down position, just get really cozy. So wherever you are, bringing your attention to breathing, to just noticing that the body is breathing. No need to change or manipulate the breath in any way, just beginning to connect with the breath and follow the flow of the air moving in and out of the body. Letting the breath be just as it is, and letting your attention rest on the sensations of breathing wherever you feel them most clearly. Maybe at the tip of the nose, or at the chest and ribs, or the abdomen. So following the breath in and following the breath out, just noticing whatever is happening within you in this moment, noticing what's happening around you in this moment, and just seeing if it's possible to allow things to be as they are, to welcome this moment as it is. So I have some phrases that I'm going to share, and you can just let these phrases come in on you, or if you like, you can silently repeat them in your own mind and heart. May I be peaceful. May I be happy. May I be free from inner and outer harm. May I care for myself with joy and ease. And may this be so for all beings everywhere. And as we complete this practice, following 3 more cycles of breathing, being as present as is possible for each breath. When you're ready, beginning to transition, remembering this place of awareness is always available to you because it's within you. So opening the eyes if they were closed and taking a moment to get reacquainted within your space, noticing your surroundings, noticing how you feel right now. And thank you so much for that practice. So I would like to once again remind you that you have free mindfulness resources that you will find on my website, thrive55plus.com. There's a 5-minute breathing meditation, a 15-minute working with your monkey mind meditation, and a 25-minute lying down body check-in meditation. So I hope you'll take advantage of those resources and just take a moment to invite any questions that might be out there.
Cheryl, thank you. That was a great presentation. And as always, I love the practice that you have to go with it. And, I'd like to take a moment to just summarize some of the things that, I personally have walked away with from this webinar series. And looking back from the first webinar to this final one today, we learned so much, beginning with what mindfulness really is and that notion of being awake and aware in the moment. You kind of use that throughout the series, and that definitely rings true for me as something, that is important to help me out with my mindfulness. Then we, moved into talking about how mindfulness can help reduce stress. And stress is just generated in so many different ways and from various triggers in our life, and especially during the menopause journey where our our bodies are physically changing and we're mentally changing, and there that can induce a lot of stress in our lives and how we cope with some of those changes. So that to me was extremely helpful too. And then I really loved when we looked at how we can cheer ourselves on and be our own coach. And something that really kind of held close to me was, being kind to ourselves, taking that time for ourselves. And then finally today, everything that you talked about as far as embracing our wisdom to thrive forward and living our best life, and, kind of really knowing yourself, whether it's, from your personal traits or, some of the habits that we form during life and so forth. So, thank you so very much for everything that you have shared throughout this series.
Well, thank you so much, Kim. It's been an honor to partner with all of you, and I truly hope that what we've created here for everyone will be a source of nourishment and hope to ease those moments that are not so easy, and also to celebrate those moments where things are going with ease. I think that's how we kind of smooth it out and feel like we can maintain some balance and even experience joy as we navigate that this menopause journey. So thank you so much, Kim.
So true. Joy and happiness is very important to us all, right? Well, just to kind of recap here, I wanted to remind you all that, this whole series, this 4-part series that Cheryl has done for us, has been recorded and is available to view on demand at our positivehealth.com/webinar site. You can find all 4 of the sessions related to this mindfulness series there. And then we do have a couple of upcoming webinars. In November, we have Denise Shields that is where she's going to focus on coping with loss and grief during the menopause journey. And that will be on November 13th. And then we'll in the month of November with Skylar Grissel joining us again for her mindfulness mentor series that she has. And this time she'll be focusing on body positivity in November, and that will be November 20th. And then our upcoming podcast episode will feature Denise Shields again. She is going to be our guest to talk about that feeling grief during the menopause journey, and how we can use mindfulness to cope with grief and or maybe that sadness of loss of interest in what used to be pleasurable. So tune in and hear what she has to say on that topic. And you can find her episode at positivehealth.com/podcast site, or you can listen to it on any of these channels, whether it be Amazon or Apple or Spotify or iHeartRadio. And then also, I'd like to invite you to join our Positive Health program that we have been doing this past year. And it offers digital health experience supporting your body, your mind, your spirit during the menopause journey. And here on the screen, it shows that it's free until December 31st, but I'm happy to say we have extended that out to March 31st. So if you or maybe someone that you know would benefit from this type of program, you can enroll at positivehealth.com/membership. And then finally, we do have a menopause journey community I'd like to promote here. And this is a space where you can join and hear from others, share your stories, hear other stories, or maybe even find some other resources that might be relevant to your situation. And if you are interested in joining this community, you can email us at info@positivehealth.com to get started. Okay. Well, Cheryl, I think this wraps us up for today and for this series. And again, thank you so very much for all your time and effort you put into this and sharing your expertise and your passion on this topic of mindfulness and helping us all during our menopause journey and seeing how we can really use those techniques to help us, get through the menopause journey with ease.
Thank you so much, Kim. And that's exactly what I wish for everyone. May you navigate your menopause journey with as much grace and ease as is possible. Be well and thrive on.
Thank you. Have a great day.